Okay, so let's talk a bit about iRetire's coaching system and how do we guide you through this. So our coaching has 4 different stages or 4 levels that you go through, and you graduate from the one level to the other level. The benefit for that is that you actually have a good idea of what your path is going to look like, what to expect. Although you won't understand everything, and on each of the different levels you'll know exactly what's going to happen there, you have a route, a map to show you what you are going to go through. So I'm going to share that with you in generalities, just to give you an idea of the route that you go through. So the first stage is what we call the student level. So on student level coaching, the first thing we're going to look at there is cash flow management, making sure that you have a proper budget and move your zero back to zero. So moving your zero back to zero is something that is so important when you start on this journey. That means getting rid of all your unsecured debt. So how that works is, and this is something that a lot of people don't understand, as you start working when you are young, your first couple of salaries, you earn some money and then you spend money, but you can't go below zero because your zero is zero. So you earn money and you spend money, and you earn money and you spend money all around zero. And then the bank comes and tells you, wow, you're a good client, we're now going to give you a credit card. And you're very excited because you're now an adult and you can't wait to get that credit card because that shows you that you've achieved something. But you promise yourself that I will not use this credit card unless it's an emergency. And then what happens? Very quickly, that credit card goes to minus 10 or minus 15,000 Rand. And now what's happening is you are now moving from minus 10 to 0 and back to minus 10 and to 0. And I see so many people who earn huge amounts of money that justify to themselves by saying, yeah, but I clear my credit card every month, so I'm okay, I still clear it. But now you're on the wrong side. Your zero is not zero. Your zero is now minus 10 or minus 20,000 Rand. But you're doing exactly the same thing that you did previously. You're moving to minus 20 and then you build your money up to 0 and then you go to minus 20 and 0 and minus 20. But now the bank is starting to get their claws into you, and the bank is starting to earn money from the things that you do. And then slowly but surely the minus 20 becomes minus 30, minus 30 becomes minus 50, minus 60. And if you keep this going, what happens? The bank will contact you and say, well, you are now qualified to upgrade your credit limit from 20,000 to 30,000 Rand. Would you like to accept this offer? And you will go, I don't really need it, but yes, it is there. Let me do it just for in case. And before you know it, your zero is now moved to minus 30. And then it happens again and your zero gets moved to minus 40, minus 50. So the first thing we want to do is we need to get your zero back to zero. Guys, it is pointless for you to invest 1,000 or 2,000 Rand into some kind of investment or savings vehicle where you're going to get 4% or 5% return on your investment, while you are still paying 18, 20, 22% on unsecured debt, on credit cards, personal loans, overdrafts. You still, if you get 5% interest, you're paying 18% interest. You are losing 13% per month, per annum. 13% you are in the hole. So I see so many students and clients, when we sit with them, they are paying money into this RA and they want to save for retirement, but they're paying 18% on debt. Let's first get rid of that and then we move over. So the first one, the goal for student level is to create financial stability. So what does financial stability mean? Your coach works with you to make sure that you understand exactly where your money is coming from. You understand the deductions, you understand where your money is being spent, and you take control by implementing a cash flow management system so that you have control about the money that goes through your account. The problem is most people have no control over the cash flow. Even the ones that think that they're doing a proper budget, they still don't know, because they're spending money on their credit card, they're spending money on their savings account, on their second credit card, on their check account. They don't know what they are spending. And then the education area we focus on student level is increasing your financial intelligence. So there we focus on the basics. We teach you the rules of the game so that you understand that. Once your 0 is to 0, we then move you to undergraduate level. And as at undergraduate level that you start building your reserve account. So the goal there is to reach maximum reserve level. And what is a reserve account? It is basically your emergency fund. But in our coaching model, the reserve account is a little bit more than just your emergency fund. It has a portion for emergency fund. So that is for anything that can go wrong, like the car breaks down, somebody gets ill, the kids have to go to the hospital or to school, to the doctor, or anything like that might happen, any emergencies that might happen. But we also add CapEx, capital expenditure, because CapEx is usually what gets people into debt in the first place. Because when people budget, they budget for their monthly expenses. So they sit there in the beginning of the month, look at their little Excel sheet and say, oh, okay, so this month I have to pay for the house, the car, the credit card, the overdraft. I have to pay for groceries. I have to pay for fuel, blah, 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 the whole thing. And then they have like 500 Rand left and they say, oh, okay, we're going to be okay. But then something happens. The car needs a service. That's going to cost 5 grand. But now they don't have that 5 grand because they don't have a budget for it, because it's not part of monthly expenses. It is a once-off that happens once or twice a year. So now what happens? They take that and put that on a credit card and say, well, okay, we'll pay it off over the year. And then what happens? It just stays there. You can't get, before you can pay it off, the next CapEx expenditure happens. And then you do it again, and you do it again, and you do it again. Before you know it, you're sitting at 30,000 Rand on your credit card. So the CapEx is we plan the year in advance and we say, okay, so let's go through every month and we see what are these once-off expenses that you need to plan for. The birthdays, the anniversaries, the Valentine's Day, the car services, the tires that you need to put on. All of those things are CapEx planning that you do. And with those two, the emergency fund and the CapEx planning, we create your reserve level, how much money you need in your reserve account. The goal for undergraduate level is to create financial security. So stability is having control over your cash flow and getting rid of your debt. Security is having a reserve account so that you become your own bank. Something goes wrong, you lose your job, you get retrenched, any of those things, you have money available to survive. You don't have to go to the bank and take out a personal loan to do it. So that is your reserve account. So the goal to reach maximum reserve level, which your coach helps you with. Secondly, the outcome is to create financial security. And here the education we focus on is becoming or increasing your entrepreneurial intelligence. So we teach you and show you how do you become a successful entrepreneur. Okay, so the next level, once you've reached maximum reserve level, you go to graduate level. Now, graduate level is where we start building a capital asset for you. So that is a positive cash flow that you have now created that flows over your reserve account into what we call your free bucks account, which is a flexible investment account that your coach and RRH will help you set up. This is to build a capital asset. So the goal for graduate level is to reach investment level. Now, what is investment level? So through the training that you receive undergraduate level, you will be able, with your coach's help, to determine what is the ideal asset that you want to invest in. Do you want to invest in a capital asset? Do you want to invest in a business asset? Or do you want to invest in a fixed asset? In consultation with your coach, you will decide on a strategy. And once you have that strategy, the coach will calculate how much capital you need to make your first investment. Once you have that goal, you now have your investment level and you start building your free bucks account to reach investment level. So the goal for graduate level is to reach investment level. The education area we focus on here is to increase your investment intelligence. So this is where your coach works with you, educates you to understand the different kinds of investments so that you can choose which one suits you best. And the outcome is to create financial gain. So gain meaning we're now starting to build an asset of money or pot of money that can work for you instead of you working for it. That is called financial gain. Also at this point, you want to start building your your first business asset. You want to become an entrepreneur and start creating alternative sources of income. Once you reach investment level, you then go to the last stage of the coaching, which is investor level. So you become an investor. So the goal for investor is to reach the breakout point. Now, just quickly what the breakout point is, it is where your income from your assets are equal or more than your active income. What is your active income? It is the income that you earn from your primary source of income, your job or your primary business, the money that funds your lifestyle. If you have assets, let's say, for example, you've got 2 businesses that you are a shareholder in, you've got a few properties, you've got a few other assets that generate income on a monthly basis. If that money from all of these assets are equal than the money you get from your job, you are basically free, because now we can take away the money from your job and this money will be able to support you. And that is the breakout point, where the money from your assets are equal or more than the money from your job or your primary business. Because once you reach breakout point, you are free. So that is the goal for investor level. The outcome is to create financial abundance. Because once you get to that point where you have that freedom, it doesn't mean you're going to stop working. It means you're going to start working for a different reason. You're going to work because you want to work, not because you have to work anymore. If you decide to go into a different career path because that was your passion, you will have the freedom to be able to do it, because you don't need your job to support your family or to support your lifestyle anymore. That is true financial freedom and true financial security, because the money comes in whether you work or don't. Okay. And then the education area is, here we focus on increasing your emotional intelligence, because you need to start thinking like the wealthy. Guys, people who are wealthy, high net worth individuals, they don't think like an employee. They don't think like somebody who just wants to get a salary at the end of the month. They think on a different level. They have an understanding of how life works, how money works, and how business works on an emotional level at a much higher rate than somebody who's a middle class person that earns a salary. You want to start changing your mindset to start thinking like a wealthy person. Because there's a saying that says, wherever the mind goes, the body will follow. What that means is, if you don't change your mindset, doesn't matter if I give you 10 million rand today, if your mindset doesn't adjust, you will just go back to where your mind is comfortable. That's why so many people that win the lottery 6 months later, 12 months later, most people who win the lottery have nothing left. They've lost everything and they're back or worse than they were before they won the lottery. Because wherever the mind goes, the body will follow. They've received the money, they got that, their bank balance changed, but their mindset hasn't changed. The mindset stayed the same. Therefore, the body, their outside world will go back to what they're comfortable with. So everything we do under investor level is to start changing your mindset, start making you understand the importance of paying it forward, of making a positive contribution to other people's lives. Now guys, again, like I said, you can't be an investor before you haven't been a student. You have to walk that first 2 steps in the forest before you can see another 2 steps and another 2 steps. Your coach will know what the route is. He will already understand what needs to happen under undergraduate, graduate, and investor level. So you can trust that your coach knows what the path is to your success. You need to focus on what's ahead of you, that 2 meters that you can see, and take those steps. Because standing still, waiting for the fog to clear, to see the rest of the plan is not taking you anywhere. You need to start taking these steps. And that is what the financial coaching does and helps people with. So guys, again, if you are interested in getting involved, getting somebody to coach you, you are welcome to contact our office 087-809-0603. You can email us as info@retirehappy.co.za. You are also welcome to send me a message through Facebook. You can just search for Lawrence Oberholzer, or you can look for me on Instagram, Lawrence iRetire. You can look at me there, or look for me there, follow me, and then send me a message through there if you have any questions. Guys, it was great spending some time with you, sharing with you what financial coaching means. And by all means, if you don't want to go through our financial coaching model, but get a mentor, get somebody who's been there, done that, who understands it, that can guide you. Don't let your ego get in the way of your success. Be willing to say, I don't know, or I'm open-minded enough to accept that I don't know everything about this subject. And if I learn more, I can earn more.